let's deal with these old crazy-ass people. Conservative leaders, including some white supremacists in Congress like Tennessee's Andy Ogles, they are still mad and upset and highly bothered because of Bad Bunny's Super Bowl performance. Now, Ogles has written a letter to the Energy and Commerce Committee he is demanding a congressional investigation into the NFL and NBC. Ogles posted this on social media. He said the Apple Music Super Bowl LX halftime show was pure smut, brazenly aired on national television for every American family to witness. Children were forced to endure explicit displays of gay sexual acts, women gyrating provocatively, and Bad Bunny shamelessly grabbing his crotch while dry humping the air. And if that weren't outrageous enough, the performance's lyrics openly glorified sodomy and countless other unspeakable depravities. These flagrant, indecent acts are illegal to be displayed on public airwaves. That is why I'm requesting that the Energy and Commerce Committee launch a formal congressional inquiry into the National Football League and NBC immediately for their prior knowledge, deliberate approval, and facilitation of this indecent broadcast. American culture will not be mocked or corrupted without consequence. Y'all, he literally wrote that. Florida Congressman Randy Fine, total nutcase, posted this on social media. You can't say the F word on live TV. Bad Bunny's disgusting halftime show was illegal. Had he said these lyrics and all of the other disgusting and pornographic filth in English on live TV, the broadcast would have been pulled down and the fines would have been enormous. Puerto Ricans are Americans and we all live by the same rules. We are sending Brendan Carr a letter calling for dramatic action, including fines and broadcast license reviews against the NFL, NBC, and Bad Bunny. Lock them up. I told y'all these people are insane. Maybe they should listen to longtime NFL broadcaster, sports broadcaster, Rich Eisen, who was at the Super Bowl, and he said this on his radio show, which I think is worthy of these idiots to pay attention to.
I was highly impressed at the jump and then got more and more impressed as I learned more and more about it, because I didn't see a lot of what you saw on television. What you see in the stadium is a spectacle. And I'll be honest with you, as soon as the Myers made it 9-0, and there were 16 seconds left in the half, I ran to run an errand, if you will, so I could get back to my seat in time for Bad Bunny. And there were many others who were needed to run an errand.
Was it fertilize and?
No, sir. But I appreciate you asking. I try to be subtle about it, but once again, you weren't. It's all
I'm
good.
trying to remember the quote. What was the quote? Do you remember?
I don't know what the quote is. I'd like to move on now.
Water and fertilize the eagle.
So all I'm just saying is I got back and the setup had started and it was just as the first notes were being played. And I thought to myself, my God, that's a lot of greenery on the field. Like, what is happening? And what is happening was a total, complete spectacle of joy. And I didn't understand a word of it. I didn't understand a word of it. And all I could see was the building was rocking. And the many Spanish-speaking people around me were losing their minds. And just the sense of joy. It was joyous. And then you learn later on the Easter eggs and the meaning of the sugar cane and the meaning of the light poles and the meaning of everything that he was doing. It seemed like every ounce of that Super Bowl halftime show was produced and it had an intent to it. And then you find out that amongst the partiers in that first sequence of the halftime show ran the gamut from Pedro Pascal to Ronald Acuna Jr.,
right?
You know, and Jessica Alba and John Hamm and costume and Cardi B. Am I missing anybody? There's a whole bunch more, right?
Carol G.
And it was wild. And then, you know, the ultimate message about the only thing more powerful than hate is love was awesome. And I noticed the shot of that screen of the scoreboard was behind me. And I just want to make sure it wasn't, you know, like green screen or anything like that. I learned it was on the board behind me. And what an awesome message it was. And then we find out the marriage that happened, it wasn't just planned.
Yeah.
I mean, pardon me, it wasn't just part of the landscape.
Yeah, the show, yeah.
Apparently what? These two people really were getting married and invited Bad Buddy to the wedding.
And he was like, I can do you one better.
How about you get married during my halftime show?
Yeah. Really cool.
Which is what you're talking about. Love. It's about love. It's about meeting. It's about celebrating. It was a celebration. It really was. Lady Gaga showed up. That was awesome. Ricky Martin showed up. Okay. And it was just joyous. And at the end, I just looked around and everyone was smiling and dancing. And you know what? I'll go here. I'm going to stray. I understand the conversation around the Bad Bunny selection by the National Football League and how it is un-American or it is not welcome. And I'll just say this. I sat next to Stuart Scott for 7 years when all he heard was from some people saying what you are doing and how you are doing it is wrong, and I don't like it, and it's because they sensed it wasn't for them, that Stewart wasn't talking to them. He was talking to an audience and saying things that was for that audience, and you're not part of that audience, and you felt it was exclusionary, rather than taking a moment and listening to what he was saying and how he was saying it and who he was saying it about and getting into it and understanding it. I sat next to him for 7 years, and I kind of got that vibe last night. He's not being exclusionary. He's trying to be inclusionary about what he's about and what his upbringing is and how it is uniquely American as well. And all I'm going to say is this on this front is that if you feel that your way of life and your value system and your upbringing is under attack, and you want your way of life and your upbringing to rule the day, the only way for you to feel respect for your way of life and your upbringing is to have mutual respect for someone else's and have a curiosity about it and an interest in it, to know that collectively we can all do it together. That's the message I got last night sitting in that stadium. And it's unfortunate if somebody didn't see it or sense it because they tuned it out before.
Mustafa, what he said about Stuart Scott I think was important. Stuart Scott, our alpha brother, Larry as well, he got hate mail. He was trashed. White columnists, white sports radio hosts, executives at CNN could not stand him saying booyah, cooler on the other side of the pillow. They didn't like his lingo. They literally gave Stuart Scott hell for years because he wasn't like Keith Olbermann and Dan Patrick. Half the time, I had no idea what the hell Keith Olbermann was talking about. Doesn't mean I thought it was bad. He had his own style. Kenny Mayne had his own style. And that's what this is all about. We played yesterday the outrageous nutcase response of Megyn Kelly. And you got all these other white folks on Fox News who are just losing their minds. They're just going crazy. And what do I keep saying? These people, they care about white identity. They care about white culture. That's what they care about. They despise, wait a minute, last year Kendrick's halftime was hell, all American. We had flags, red, white, and blue, and they still hated it because it was a black dude rapping. So it's clear all these people care about is whiteness.
How do I want to respond to that? Bad Bunny, lo hizo la gente. What that means is that he did it for the people. He was building a bridge, just like Stewart did. They were about bridge building, right? They were bringing new language and new ways of being able to express and to highlight the areas that they focus on. And these individuals, you know, these folks who keep complaining and throwing stones, their whole thing is about making sure that there is no narrative but the narrative that they believe represents America. And they're completely wrong, of course, and they're afraid. They're afraid because America continues to evolve and change and is browning. And so they do anything that they can to try and tear down anyone who is talking about love, who is talking about healing, who is talking about history. Because for those of us who understand Spanish, and even if you didn't understand Spanish, you could very easily have went and looked up what the symbolism was talking about, whether it's talking about the hurricanes and the impacts that happened there, talking about slavery and sugarcane, talking about also about culture, about Black roots in brown bodies, and how reggaeton is all of that coming together. So that's the reason that these conservatives do these types of things, is because they want to shackle America. They want to hold America back into the 18th century or the 19th century, and folks are moving forward. And when you have an individual like Bad Bunny, who is about trying to bring folks together, it scares them. The last thing that I'll say is they didn't say anything in 2012 when Madonna was rolling around on the stage. They didn't say anything about the Stones in 2006, and they didn't say anything about Justin Timberlake in 2018. Because, you know, those folks, even though they are creatives and they're great in their own ways, they probably could see themselves reflected in those individuals, and they couldn't see themselves reflected in all those amazing Latino and Latina performers who were on that stage.
See, the reason, but you got to understand, back then they didn't care about that. They didn't. Randy, all of this is all since 2020. 2020, J-Lo, Shakira, and Bad Bunny all performed. But remember, they were pissed off when Beyonce was there, when I think the game was in San Francisco, when the dancers had berets. Oh, my goodness. Is that for the Black Panthers, those berets? This is the whole deal. What Donald Trump has introduced, Donald Trump has brought back to the fore white identity. And these people are clear and open, and they don't care, and that's what this is about. It's about whiteness. Why did I write my book? And I called it. I've been saying this 2009. I kept trying to tell people. I said, y'all, these people are operating from what I call white minority resistance. I said, it's about to be about white folk. That was in 2009. My book dropped in 2022. Everything that happened in those 13 years were about white identity. And Donald Trump has put white identity on steroids, and now they are open and free, and they care about whiteness, Randy, nothing else.
Somebody came out and said that the show wasn't white enough for them. They just came out. Usually they try to disguise it and say American, but someone said it wasn't white enough for them, and it went wild on Twitter. You are absolutely right.
Yeah, they were like,
right.
where are the white dancers? I'm like, oh, now y'all want quotas?
You want some DEI? No, they are terrified of the new landscape of America, and they do not see it as a place that is for everybody else. And so when we come out and we have Kendrick Lamar and we come out and we have Bad Bunny, they are terrified and they're saying it's not American. Now, it's so interesting to me that here you have a sport where 60 to 70% of the players at one time are Black, and they're fine with that. And, you know, I said earlier, had they had people with Latin backgrounds serving in the stands and bringing them cervezas and selling them tacos, and they would have been fine with that. But when they are on the main stage, when they're saying that this is my country too, and I deserve all the light, and also we have a history here. Let me show you the real history and the culture that we have here. White people are terrified. I think what we're seeing now is how insecure of a people that many of them are, and that we make them feel absolutely inadequate, because people don't act like this unless they're terrified. And they recognize that this is the end of what they consider America, of what they see as the good old days, because the demographics are changing and people's attitudes are changing. So yeah, they are terrified, and they are worried that their whiteness, or what they consider to be American, is being fully diluted or polluted in their minds, polluted right now. And I love to see it. The angrier they are, the more tickled I am.
Yeah, check this out. You know, this is, let me see if I can get this showing up right here. So Jill Zarin, who I don't give a shit. She's one of Real Housewives of New York, a show you will never, ever see me watch. I despise all of those shows. She was really in her feelings about the halftime show. And check this out.
So we all agree. Now we all agree. I agree. I said it before that it was the worst halftime show ever. And it's 250 years that we're celebrating right now in the United States. And I just don't think it was appropriate to have it in Spanish. And quite frankly, I didn't need to see him grabbing his, G area. I think it was totally inappropriate. You've got all these young kids watching the Super Bowl, and he doesn't have to be grabbing himself every 5 seconds. Is he so insecure? Seriously, I didn't understand it. I don't speak Spanish. I would have liked to have known the words he was saying. To me, it looked like a political statement, because there were literally no white people in the entire thing. I think it was a political statement, and I'm not taking a side one way or the other. I just do. I think it was an ICE thing. And I just think that the NFL sold out, and it's very sad, because this was 75 years. And, shame. Shame. And Lady Gaga got a facelift. I didn't recognize her. I literally had to Google her face to see who it was, because we all couldn't agree who it was. So that was kind of fun in the middle of halftime. At least it gave me something to do, because it was so hard to watch.
Well, she got a lot of time on her hands now, y'all, because E-Network has fired her ass from the, are they supposed to do this Real Housewives reunion? Well, her ass got fired, Larry. See, F-A-F-O. Got there talking all that shit, and then it kind of like, okay, so she got lots of time on her hands now, Larry.
Yeah, she could just spend time kicking rocks now, because that's all she'll be able to do now that she's not going to be on this show, reunion show. Roland, I'm reminded in terms of the responses to, Bad Bunny and a lot of other stuff we've seen rooted in anti-Blackness over the last year plus. It reminds me of the Public Enemy album cover, Fear of a Black Planet, because whether people want to acknowledge it or not, and we certainly saw it, yes, we saw it with the Super Bowl, is that Puerto Rican culture is shaped by its African roots. So I love the symbolism when opening up with the showing the sugarcane and some people working the fields, because we have to talk about those who formerly enslaved individuals, our ancestors, wherever they were dropped off at, and the connection to colonialism and what it means to be Puerto Rican, and also from racial ethnic backgrounds in America today. Right. So there's a lot of symbolism, and these, all these halftime shows have symbolism throughout the years. This is not any different. It is the political moment that makes this different. And you're right. People are losing their minds. If it was, John Mellencamp or something like that, or whoever you want to think about who's, some individuals might consider to be a true American, then those individuals, that we've highlighted this evening wouldn't have a problem with that. But once again, this is part of white fragility. In research, we talk about white fragility, and these things not rooted and centered within whiteness. And when you see that, we've dealt with over the last year plus in terms of the overall response. And this is why we are where we are politically.
John Mellencamp has come out and said he actually loved it. So they no longer.
Well, let's come up with somebody. Let's come up with somebody else besides John Mellencamp.
My point is they always use him because of his song "Small Town," and but the thing is they actually hate it if you're white and you don't agree with their frankly fundamentalist white Christian nationalism. And all you got to do is to see the freak out at Fox News. Here's that idiot Greg Gutfield. Listen to this.
It seems like kind of a big deal considering that twice as many Puerto Ricans are in the United States as in Puerto Rico. So if the culture is so amazing, why are you coming here? And
this here, take y'all ass back to Europe.
Right.
Since y'all love Europe so much, take your ass back. I mean, this just goes to show you how crazy these people are. And so now what they're trying to do is, and here's another. This is Representative Mark Alford on that Real America's Voice right-wing network. Again, what they're trying to do is they want to use the government, the FCC, in order to attack what took place. Listen to this idiot.
The lyrics, from what we have seen from Bad Bunny, are very disturbing. And if it holds true that I don't speak fluent Spanish, okay? I know how to ask where the bathroom is, but these lyrics, if it is true what was said on national television, we have a lot of questions for the entities that broadcast this, and we'll be talking with Brendan Carr from the SEC about this. But this could be much worse than the Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction. Let's put it that way.
But at least that was a malfunction. I mean, this was apparently intentional.
This was intentional,
yeah,
yes.
And they could not have said this were it in English. So just the fact that we're at a place in our country where we had a fully not
wonk. No, but it's amazing. So y'all got time to investigate Bad Bunny, but y'all ain't got time to talk about them healthcare subsidies?
I mean, that's the part right there, Roland. You raised the most important part. You've got a committee on Capitol Hill that has the ability to actually help address so many issues that are going on across our country. Energy issues, right? So energy is one of their issues. And we know that the prices for electricity are becoming outrageous, but they don't do anything in that space. They also have some responsibility for healthcare, but yet they're allowing those to become astronomical as well. So my thing is, why don't you do your damn job and focus on the things that could actually help folks across this country and stop, worrying about these mythical things that you continue to try and blow up that have no relevancy whatsoever to everyday people's lives. And if you're not going to do that, then I don't even know why you're up there.
Well, it's because of one thing. They need the culture wars in order to win. All this is about is very simple. Anyone y'all can jump in. This is about November. They need something to gin up white people. Donald Trump's approval ratings, they're in the toilet. And they need to be able to get white folks fired up. I see this playbook as clear as day.
Roland, they've used that same playbook for years, and guess what? It's worked.
Yeah,
that's why they keep going back to it. It's like in sports, if you keep running a pick and roll, they can't stop it. Guess what? We'll run a pick and roll for 4 quarters until you do. So yeah, you're right. This is the same playbook. I've seen it. Mustafa has seen it. We worked on Capitol Hill. It has not changed. Anytime they can get white people in America feel like your culture is at risk, or they're coming for you, they're coming for your jobs, they're coming for your daughters. It makes it very easy to get these folks motivated instead of focusing like healthcare costs, groceries, and all the other challenges we're dealing with, our international issues, all the other issues we should be focused on as Americans. So once again, Roland, this playbook has worked over and over again for generations.
Randy, pure and simple, it is about race. They need white people to just be angry. Need them, look at Randy Fine, Today would be a great day to round up and deport illegals, especially those who like Bad Bunny's filth. All of them, no exceptions. Guys, what are you doing? Come on. Can you show? Come on. Come on. Go to the iPad. Thank you very much. This is what he tweeted. Yeah, all of a sudden, they're so mad. Let's round up everybody. They are so angry. That, again, it is whiteness on display, Randy. It's just pure whiteness.
They run on a platform of hate. Who can we make you hate and get riled up? They want them to vote against something and not for anything. They don't ever speak about policies. They never talk about what they're for or what they want to make happen. They just talk about who they are against. And so the way they do that is they make Black people seem like monkeys, and they make Latinos, all of them, regardless of their status, seem as if they're not supposed to be here in this country. They're illegal. They're aliens. They're criminals. They make other people come from shithole countries. They make queer people seem as if they're trying to take over your kids and harm them in some way. If they can dehumanize others, so white people feel as if they are the only true good people, patriots on this earth, then they have it made. And so they do every single day. They're trying to get white people outraged and feel as if they need to fight against all these evil beings. And evil beings, anybody who is not white and Christian, and fight against us. And that's what they're doing. It's a plan that has worked, and I think they're counting on it to work again. And white people walk around just completely fearful of everybody. And so the fact that they're spending so much time on, what was it, a 12-minute halftime show?
15 minutes,
they're creating this sort of outrage when we're talking about the president. It's, all the files that we're seeing and things, but they're worried about this 12-minute show.
Well, first of all, it was a 15-minute halftime show. That crap they put together was 35 minutes, and this is what they do. But again, what they try to get people to understand is, and this is where country music comes in. So they operate as if country music is all American, and country music is really, about, apple pie, and everything is perfect and wonderful, and the flag. Charlie Crockett, country music singer, my man said that, you know what, country music artists, y'all should have been taking notes from Bad Bunny. This is what he said. They keep saying I'm a cosplay cowboy, but they love a cosplay president. Some folks have been on here calling Muhammad Ali a draft dodger when y'all got one in the White House. When I was at the Grammys the other night, I saw a guy get up and talk about Jesus. And then I saw Bad Bunny get up there and talk like Jesus. The country music establishment should be taking notes on a Puerto Rican American who hasn't forgotten his heritage and brought his culture's traditional music back to the front, showing the world something new with it. The president is a grifter who bankrupted 6 casinos. That's pretty extraordinary considering it's a rigged business in favor of the House. The only thing he's good at is filing lawsuits and portraying a successful businessman as a reality TV actor. Last time I checked, Elon Musk was an immigrant from South Africa, but there he is standing in the White House buying our elections. Let's deport his ass and send Peter Thiel back with him, since they both openly believe in a post-democratic society where men of their class are above the law. Forgive me if I have a problem with a 34-time convicted felon running this country when I lost the right to vote or own a weapon for years over marijuana. As long as you're hating the oppressed and loving your oppressor, you'll never know why our generation is poorer than our parents and grandparents. As a great man once said, it's welfare for the rich and rugged individualism for the poor. If you can sleep at night licking their boots, that's between you and yours. But that type of thinking isn't freedom. It's mental slavery. Every single right we have as a people wasn't handed to us. We had to fight and take it. Judge a man by how he treats the poor and those who he views as being able to do nothing for him. Don't forget why Muhammad Ali said, "I am America." Remember the coal miners of Harlan County, Kentucky. I believe in what we can be. Right on. That was some serious truth right there.
Mm-hmm.
That was some truth.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, it's good. Every once in a while, we get a little glimmer from folks, obviously mostly folks that look like us, who speak truth to power, as Mustafa likes to say. But we need to hear more of that. But he called them out, and everything he made a great points. People are focused on some of the things that have nothing to do with your everyday life in terms of, whether you have enough gas in your car to get to work. Are your children safe at school? Are they have to worry about a mass shooting and all these other complicated issues that the House or the Senate is not really dealing with. And so we're all, people are focused on, going after, the NFL, NBC, et cetera, for this, the Bad Bunny performance. And they can't, they're not focused on things that really matter, like I said, in terms of their everyday lives. But I'm really glad what he said, what he had to say. We need to hear more of that for folks that don't look like him, who were, country music artists, et cetera. But it's had to be said, and we need to continue to hear more of that.
Absolutely. All right, y'all.